I'm going to share my rough draft with you guys today of what we would recommend you do going into the August 17th preparation. You know what the three most important things are in today's environment that's going to get you through and get you through better than anybody else? Number one, mindset. Number two, work ethic. And number three, skill set. Why are those in place of that? Mindset, work ethic, skill set. If you get up and you got a shitty mental attitude, but you got the right skill set and you're out there working, you ain't going to convert anybody because you got the wrong mindset. If you get up and half-ass something, you could be at the open house and be in a half-ass mentality going, open houses suck, and well, nobody's going to do anything. Oh my God, this market's so tough. Now I've got all this NAR shit to settle. Oh my God, it's so bad. If you got that mental capacity, it doesn't matter what your skill set or your work ethic is. Just pack your bags, pull the coffin shut, and go to bed. Okay? But if you get up and you got the right mental attitude, you will figure it out. I can tell you this, I don't give a damn how bad the market gets out there. My market is pretty freaking awesome right now. And that's what I'm going to attract. So, mindset is number one. Work ethic is number two. And skill set. If you got the right mindset, you're going to be working to constantly improve every single day. And if you improve an inch every single day, then in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you're going to be so far ahead of everybody else that's sitting still. So get the right mindset.
Today I want to talk a little bit about the market we're in and maximizing offers for your clients. What we're seeing today, or at least what I'm seeing today, is a lot more sellers willing to negotiate, a lot more contracts with seller concessions. And I wanted to go over why you shouldn't ask for a price reduction, but instead ask for seller concessions.
Okay, this is a slide from Mr. Nakia Brooks, trying to simplify things down for you guys. And this is, you choose one. You've got buyer agency as defined in F110 or F113. Customer agreement, F116. And the pre-showing compensation agreement. Choose one before showing the property. Go ahead. If you use the broker compensation, F259, that'll be once the home is under contract and you have not done the F258, you would go into that mode and you would have the broker compensation agreement, if you knew what it was, to go into the closing attorney. Use 259 when there is no F258. Okay? Now, when I saw this, Lori sent it over to me, and we have had so many freaking conversations around this stuff, guys, and I'm like, I don't understand what the confusion is. You got 4 forms and one stipulation that we're going to talk about. That's it. Break it down very simply for you. And I'm going to try, I really want to express upon you guys that I still believe there's too many people, and this company included, that are thinking and talking like a frickin' real estate agent, and they're concerned about one thing. What's that?
Am I going to get paid?
My commission! As opposed to thinking of it through the consumer's lens and going, hey, why don't we focus on making it an enjoyable experience all the way through? And if you do this over and over and over, guess what's going to happen to your income? Your income's going to go up, right? Are you going to get screwed over by some people? Yes, guess what, guys? I hate to say this, but you're already doing that as part of your practice anyway, right now. But for some reason, now that we're flipping the switch, everybody goes, I got to protect my damn commission. How many of you, and I know because I know the contracts and the closings that I've seen come through here, when a seller right now offers 1.5%, 2 or 2.5%, how many of y'all are charging your buyer out of their pocket to cover the 3%? Raise your hand. Because I will say you're full of shit if you raise your hand, because I've seen the closings come through here. I've seen the reductions. So why on earth, if you're not worried about it now, does it all of a sudden become something that you are going to control and get 3% before I go open the damn door? Makes no sense to me. So, get out of the old way of thinking. Get into the new way of thinking. Am I saying go do everything for free and don't give regard to anything in your business? No, 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 no. But if we go out there with a consumer mind first, we'll stop all this nonsense and you'll see, hey, there's really 5 things that you need to understand and focus on. One is F259, that if you don't have 258 signed, which I don't like myself, 258, if I'm a listing agent, I'm gonna have the seller sign 258. For the agents who are practicing, I wanna have an answer before I go show it. I need to have that ready so I'm not chasing it later on. So part of my listing, I'm gonna go ahead and have that 258 signed by the seller. On the buyer's side, I ain't gonna give a shit about it. Matter of fact, I'm not even gonna call, by the way, this is August 17th, I'm not gonna call and go, hey, what's the commission? What are you paying the buyer's agent before I show? Want to make sure I have a conversation with my buyer. Let me ask you this. If I was showing you homes, you didn't know me from Adam, and by the way, as inventory's building up, what you might used to have shown 1 or 2 or 3 homes, now you're gonna be showing 5, 6, 10, 20, 30, right? How many conversations do you want to have with a buyer about commission, and how does a buyer that doesn't really know you, how are they gonna be looking at you if every single damn thing out of your mouth comes around commission, right? And so a buyer's agent that goes out there and says, hey, I get all this that's gonna be going on. I'm gonna own this market, and I'm gonna go out and be the one that people should want to work with because I'm gonna make it so damn easy for them. And I'm not gonna make it about commission, commission, commission. I need to educate them, I need to talk real with them, but I need to make it easy. Go ahead. So I just want you guys to think about this. And again, remember, my whole thing is, I don't care what your practice is, I don't care what your MO is going to be, as long as you are legal, moral, and ethical. I want to be behind you to help you be the best version of what you are choosing to be. But if you're not going to be legal, moral, and ethical, then we're going to ask you to leave. Well, no, we're not going to ask you, we're going to kick your ass out of here. I can say that because I know that that's not your mindset, okay? So then we go over and we go, okay, not for use when 259 is present. Instructions to closing attorney, F255. We go over to, if this is not present, proceed to 259. Pre-showing compensation agreement, 258. I think that actually was supposed to go in front of that other one. I sent Noel these slides in no numerical order or anything like that.
They were numbered, sorry.
Okay.
So I did them in the number they were in.
Right. This, guys, is what Tom Gillette wrote up for our stuff. We took special stipulations 620 and we're going to replace it and say, hey, you know what, guys, I don't want y'all to have to worry about special stipulations 620. I believe that there's 2 approaches to what we're all going to be going through. One is, if you are a sphere of influence or you are a personal referral and you have a real connection with me, you know me, you trust me, you understand who I am, and you know that I'm going to treat you the way that I'm going to treat you with the highest regard. I'm going to go ahead and have you sign the 8-page buyer brokerage engagement, okay? We'll go ahead and sign that. I'm not going to worry about it because you are a referral. I should have a better, trustworthy experience from you. You should have a more trustworthy expectation from me, and I will walk and talk you through this buyer brokerage agreement as we sit down and do a buyer consult for the first time that we meet. Yes, I will do this on that. For everybody else that does not know me, I would recommend getting this signed, which is the agreement to work with a buyer as customer. Okay? Customer engagement versus a buyer brokerage agreement. Buyer brokerage agreement is 8 pages, including the signature page. If you don't know me from Adam, and I'm sitting you down for the first time, and all you want to do is get in one home, you call me off online or you call me off my sign, you have no clue who I am, there's no relationship connection at all, which one are you going to feel more comfortable signing with me? A 4-page total, signature page included, or an 8-page legally binding contract between us, one of them that obligates you to time, and as me as your exclusive agent, one that allows you to go out there and work with other agents and build a relationship with me until you go to having to do the buyer's agency agreement. Which one would you rather do? If you are the best out there and you understand the psychology of people, you're going to be going forward with this with people that don't know you from Adam. Okay? Now, a lot easier to sign, I'd recommend, hey, you know what? I'm going to work with you for about a week. I'm going to take on some liability on my side and reduce down the friction between us so you can start working with me, and I'm going to show you the difference. I'm probably going to work with you about a week to 2 weeks under this, and then I'm going to have to flip you over to a buyer's agency agreement once I have invested my time and my resources into you, and then I need to protect the long-term relationship part. Does that make sense? And by the way, I see some people responding on there. Y'all can challenge me on anything that you want. By the way, remember, this is a rough draft too. In regard to listing presentations, I am a realtor at heart. I believe through and through that the value of a professional real estate agent is worth its weight in gold. I believe a seller's position to offer compensation to a buyer's agent makes more sense than not. However, I'm not going to die on that vine. I'm going to go out and I'm going to educate the seller, and I'm going to say, whether you do or don't, I don't care. My job as your listing agent is to put the most money in your pocket. So whether you pay them 0 or 3% or whatever you decide to do, I don't care. And I don't. I'm going to let the buyer's agent fight for whatever they deem right. And I, as your listing agent, want to put the most money in your pocket. So if you want to start off at 0, let's go. By the way, this is where your strong, high-producing listing agents are going to go very quickly. And I hope that y'all listen to the little link of the Tom Ferry podcast with Jack from T360 on there. Jack from T360. T360 is one of the most noted companies of predicting the future of real estate and what's coming out. And that's exactly what he said. And he goes, hey guys, if you want to die on the vine of trying to sell the value of the buyer's agent, you're going to be eaten alive by those that go out there and get the language that the sellers and the public want to hear. Pick your poison. If you want to have a smaller pool and you're good with that, I'm totally good with that. If you want to have more volume and you want to go out there and have people go, hey, you know what? He's speaking the way that I want to speak. As a seller, I want to reduce my cost and increase what I take in my pocket. Right? And by the way, I've heard that there are people out there, there are agents out there that are going to be telling sellers, you are not going to pay a dime of commission. And that's part of their strategy, is convincing people that they're not going to pay a buyer's agent a dime. I don't think that's the right approach. But I just want to put some things out there. And then you've got Form 258 and 259, and you've got this special stipulation here that Tom Gillette wrote. Now, what I want you guys to understand is Special Stipulation 620, the way that it's written, it was written before all of the new stuff came out. So when Tom and I were up here talking, I said, well, I put in Special Stipulation 620. What he pointed out to me, and remember this, when attorneys write a big paragraph, when attorneys write all this stuff, you could probably condense it down in layman's terms in about a page, but they're going to go into all their legal speak, and it's going to end up being 8 pages, what could be in 1 page, right? And the way that they write it typically will confuse you. So Tom Gillette said, well, here's what happens on Special Stipulation 620. You are asking the seller to pay an additional amount to the buyer's agent, which actually, if the listing agent had in their 5% that they'd be paying the broker, you'd be effectively asking the seller to pay your 3% in addition to the 5% they're already committed to. Which was not at all what I understood it to be, but Tom said, no, that's how it's written. We will need to adjust it, and we will the next go round, but guess when the next go round will be? January. So I asked Tom, I said, hey Tom, can you help me get this cleaned up? Because I think it is the cleanest and easiest way to get to have the conversations that we need to reduce the friction down and to ask the seller in the least offensive way. And so he came up with this, and there's 2 different, all that's different is the very beginning of it. It says, buyer's request seller to pay buyer's broker's compensation, and it says to be used only when buyer's broker has no knowledge, as if the seller has directed seller's broker to pay compensation to buyer's broker. The bottom one says to be used when an agreement is in place with seller's broker to pay compensation to buyer's broker, which does not satisfy the obligation of the buyer to buyer's broker under a separate agreement. we are going to, now remember, all this is rough draft, but I'm telling you, this is what I'm going to take and have Randy's company legally look it over and make sure that we are protected and that Tom didn't screw anything up, because Tom is not an attorney, but Tom has been on the forms committee for a long time, and I respect him immensely. And this is what he came up after our conversation and said, hey, I think 620 will be something that we take and we do redo it for next year, but why wait till next year? So he gracefully went up to Tennessee, sat in his hotel room, and banged that out and sent it to me and Deb last Tuesday, which I was very happy about. So this is what I'm going to be encouraging you guys to take on, understand, accept, and work it in the package. Because if I go meet you and you don't know me, and I sit down with you and say, hey, here's the process. We have written this special stipulation that I don't want you to have to pay out of pocket anything. I'm going to go negotiate with the seller to pay the buyer's agent commission, and I'm going to be asking for 3%, and I hope that you're okay with that. Here's what I'm going to put in the contract so that you don't have to pay for it out of your pocket. Is this okay with you? And I can't imagine a buyer who wants to buy a home that is looking you in a professional light that will say, no, I don't want you to ask for the seller to pay, which basically be saying, I don't want to pay you anything, right? So I believe the process to start, and now keep in mind, this is what I'd recommend for a stranger that doesn't know you, different from sphere of influence or a referral from a close personal friend. As we go through, so this is my rough draft into this, but this is the direction that I believe will simplify the process for the consumer, will not have us all look like all we give a shit about is commission, and hey, you're gonna have to pay me if the seller doesn't do it. I mean, the conversations I'm hearing from people, I'm talking about a podcast, talking across out there, I'm sitting there going, man, this is just gonna be messy for one person, and it's not us, it's the consumer. And that's the part, we already rank right now, y'all know where we rank of professions? In the consumer's, in the general public's mind, real estate agents are one notch above used car sales professionals. And by the way, let me just say this. We've all gone out there and had bad experiences with used car sales professionals, and we've had good experiences. There are professionals in each side of the business, but the majority of people go out there and give bad practice in those fields. Real estate's one of them. We have a very low barrier to entry. My belief system is if you take care of the client's going to take care of you. Zig Ziglar said it best, if I help enough other people get what they want in life, I'll get everything that I want in life. That's really my motto of what we've always done in here and how I've always operated. And I think I'm pretty happy with my life of how it goes. I can go out there today and work with buyers and I'll do the same MO that I always did. I never made it about the commission, I made it about the client and finding the right home at the right price for them and their family. You know what I got out of that? I got a shit ton of referrals through the day. It's just what happens. But if I go out there and make it about the commission, I'm going to push away some people that might have been able to give me 10 referrals the next year. And by the way, my mind just gets numb with all this crap. So it's like, okay guys, it's just a little tiny change. It really is in the grand scheme of things. In the grand scheme of things, back in 2007, 8, 9, we had the financial crisis and they realized, oh, appraisers were kind of fraudulently appraising properties just to get a deal done. Oh, we had these lenders that were out there giving people loans that should have never gotten loans. We had crap to get taken care of. And the changes that were mandated down because of all that stuff were very difficult to work through. This is nothing in the grand scheme of things. That time period, it was laws, it was watch your ass, it was a whole bunch of stuff. And we made it through that time period just fine. Okay? And by the way, the number of sales, if you go, oh my God, what happens if the world shits the bed and the real estate market goes to hell in a handbasket? Guys, we got to go back to 1995 before we have the low amount of sales volume that we've got going on right now. So in theory, you are already surpassing 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11. We sold more homes than we did this last year. So you are making it through a technical downturn in the real estate market right now. And we're 75% of the way through, right? 75% of the way through to get to the other side where it's like, hey, we're going to have some normalcy. There's going to be balance. It's going to be more predictable. So you're making it through, in my opinion, the worst of times right now. And all you gotta do is remember, number one thing you gotta keep, right mindset. Everything else will flow. I took these charts and I added 2 lines. And by the way, Miss Courtney, if you can come up here because you're speaking after this chart. I put 2 lines on here because I want to make this so easy that when you're talking to a seller, this is just indefutable. This is my favorite slide of any one of them because it shows you the price and it shows you the supply. And those are the 2 things that are going to drive, and by the way, so the black line represents price. And as you can see, price the last 3 years has peaked at the same exact peak. And right now, the line goes over where you can see the peak
It's going down.
is going down for this year. And I wanted to have something on here, and then the line over there for supply is skyrocketing. Not because we've had a whole bunch of new sellers come into the fold. As a matter of fact, we're only 3% more new listings this year than we were last year at this same time. Just 3%. That's not much at all. They were thinking this year we'd have a lot more. We haven't. But the inventory has risen sharply, and the price has leveled off, and we have clearly, for this year, seen the peak. So I put 2 lines in there to go, man, if I can go into any seller and just go, hey, I know you want to wait for your price, but if we just look at these, supply's just doing nothing but keeping increasing, and price has already peaked out, and we're starting to see the last half of the year, which price tends to go down as demand goes down. What do you want to do? Right? We can wait till next year to hopefully have a market that's going back up, or we could sell it and be very close to the peak right now, but we can't do it at the price that we're at right now. These to me are the most indisputable conversation charts that you can have with a seller. This is to me a no-brainer. And if you have a problem with this, explaining it, please give me a call and go, hey, I'm not getting this. This is a national trend, so you can use it in Savannah, Augusta, Florida, anywhere. It works.